You're telling me to take my wool suit and put it in a dryer. But one of the keys to wet cleaning, and was the hard thing to get people over, is that, yeah, you have to actually take a wool suit like this and put it in the dryer. Now, it's only for a couple of minutes to activate the texturizing agents, but it makes your wool feel so soft and supple.
Super excited about our guest today, Chris White, Executive Director at America's Best Cleaners.
You know, we all just care for our craft, right? And your craft is to construct and our craft is to care. We go from there, and again, your clients are our clients. They win. You know, just like your business, Peter, and my business, we're so labor intensive is that we have to just stay abreast of what's going on with human development and the issues going on with their livelihood, and how we can become not just a job for them, but a place where they can come and develop themselves personally and professionally.
Could you explain what the difference is between dry cleaning your clothes and laundering your clothes?
Welcome to Thread Talks, where we stitch together tales of style and substance. Join us as we chat with industry icons, master tailors, innovators, and business experts. We'll discuss how to look and feel your best. Explore how fashion shapes our lives, the artistry behind custom clothing, and the deep stories woven into the fabric of our identities. Here's your host, Peter Roberti of Adrian Jules.
Super excited about our guest today, Chris White, Executive Director at America's Best Cleaners. We've had a great relationship over the years. I feel like we've gotten real close over the past couple of years. He represents dry cleaners across North America, and actually has a couple in Canada. He's got spread out across the world, which is amazing. So we're excited to have you on the show. I got a ton of questions to ask you, stuff that happened recently, but Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, Peter, thanks so much for having me. It's wonderful to get down, as be able to sit down and talk to you about all the pressing matters of better clothes and better garment care. So I'm excited and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right, I'm gonna jump into, because this is kind of on my mind, because it actually happened over the weekend. I had a guy texting me. He's all nervous, and I want to get your thoughts on this. He's all nervous because he was out to dinner. He spilled spaghetti, spilled sauce on his sport coat, and I think a little on his shirt. So I wanted to get your thoughts on, what do you do in that situation, and what should they, what other stains or what other things have you seen over the course of the years, that you would recommend them doing in that situation?
Yep, sure. I get this quite a bit, Peter, so it's no worries off my back. So first and foremost, you have to remember there's a lot of wives' tales out there of these secret concoctions of things that you need to do, but you'd be surprised to know that if you just keep it simple, dab the sauce off of the garment as best as you can with a clean towel. Just dab it and get it onto the towel and rotate the towel and get it off, and just fresh, clean water, dabbing that on there. Do not rub it. Do not push it in. And you will be surprised, like the stains, usually, especially if it's a wool jacket or something like that, the cotton towel that you use is more absorbent than the wool. And so it will actually just start to pull that stain right onto the cotton towel. So if you're at the restaurant, don't ask for a regular napkin, because most napkins are cotton poly blend and they're coated. So you want to ask for a clean white towel and just dab that off there. Get some fresh, clean water, dab it on there again until you get it, and leave it. That's it. Because if you start doing any more than that, you're probably going to start embedding the stain material, the pigments from the sauce, the oils and greases. They're going to start getting embedded into the fiber. And that just makes it a little bit more difficult for your neighborhood cleaner or your America's Best Cleaners to be successful in removing that stain. I get it quite a bit. I have friends on social media. They call me the dry cleaner of the stars. They're always like, ask me. And I'm like, okay, it's just real simple, man. Fresh, clean towels and clean water. Don't go crazy. Now, if you're at home and you're going to do some type of home remedy on something, and especially if you got kids, I know it is, then we could talk about some little tricks and tips that you could do at home for your white cotton shirts or your jeans and things like that. But when you're out, you don't get too crazy. The salt in the soda water, forget all that, man. Just a clean towel and water is your friend. You start doing anything else that you could create a reaction that could make it difficult for that stain to be removed. So in the sense of the sauce stain, I'm not going to get nerdy on you here, but it's what we call a combination stain. If it had meatballs or meat sauce, it's got grease. It's got tannins from the tomato sauce in it, right? And it's got these proteins, fat materials that are in there from the grease and oil also. So
Sure.
these are all different layers of things that need a different chemical to break them down to be successful. But at
Interesting.
the end of the day, when it's fresh and clean, fresh towel, clean water. That's all you need.
Good. That's helpful.
Don't go, keep it simple. That's all I tell everyone.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't. Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yep.
So I apologize. I felt like I had to. That was top of my mind. I had to get that out there. But if we could just go back 2 steps, America's Best Cleaners. Talk to me. What do you do? What Tell us your story and how you got to where you're at now.
Yeah. So America's Best Cleaners was founded by Ed DeLisio, and I was introduced to America's Best Cleaners back in 2001. And I was at that time, I was director of operations at a very high-end, unique dry cleaners in New York City called Madame Paulette. Yeah. While I was there, I actually built and designed their facilities. Then I came back and helped run the business for them for almost 10 years. And during that tenure, we were best of New York, but we were also the only dry cleaners ever ranked by the Rob Report as the best dry cleaners in the world. And our clientele was the fashion elite, the entertainment elite. We were shipping dry cleaning around the world, following tours like Elton John's tour. Most of his wardrobe is all made by Gianni Versace by hand himself. So it was very, very expensive and had to be maintained at the almost conservation museum level. Yeah. So you can imagine when you have clientele like that, they're out in the middle of London, they're in LA, they're in Chicago, and they call us and they're like, hey, Chris, who in Chicago, who in LA can do what you do? I got an emergency. And, at our level of clientele we're dealing with, our reputation is critical to us. So we have to be very cautious about what we do in representing our recommendation and our brand to someone. So that was the challenge. It's like, I don't know, there's no standard that was set up to say this person's qualified or this business is qualified to do this level of work. And so when I left Madame Paulette in 2005, I partnered with the founder Ed DeLisio, and I came on board as the executive director. And originally, America's Best Cleaners was just a bunch of high-end cleaners that got together and shared business ideas. Yeah. And we were like, look, if we want this to be real, we got to meet with our partners in the fashion world. We got to meet with our partners in the garment manufacturing space and find out what are all the tips and tricks that they would want, and also the standards and skills that they'd want to make sure that they could refer their clients to a dry cleaner as your service department, and know that it's like there's ASTM certification and things like that for automobiles and things like that, or getting up higher in if you're a Ferrari certified mechanic, right? Sure. Imagine a Malbach certified mechanic. They're very rare. Same thing with doing, an Adrian Jules custom made suit. You know what I mean? There's so much skill and craft that goes into that someone, when they take that in, need to understand the difference between the vicuna wools that may be in there versus your standard wools, you know what I mean? And understanding all of the true built out full chest in the suit instead of just being interfaced and glued on, and what goes into that and how to finish that. So we went and we partnered up with all of our friends in the fashion industry and all the people that we knew and said, what do we need? And so we developed an independent certification mark that goes out and audits every year our affiliates to make sure that they have the best facilities that they can. They're providing the best equipment for their staff. They're providing skills and skills development for their staff and staying abreast of what's going on in the world of fashion. And then the experience for the consumer is exactly like a handshake from an elite fashion brand or one of your showrooms, or coming out of a Mitch Gambert type of dealer showroom place. You know what I mean? These are very high contact, very elegant facilities. And so the client has an expectation of that when they go to get it serviced. Just like if you went to the service department at your Porsche dealer, it's going to be a nice facility. It's on par with that. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the gist of what America's Best Cleaners is we'll be celebrating our 25th year in existence next year, just doing that certification. And then it's my job and my team's job on top of that then to make sure that all those certified affiliates are fully informed in real time of what's going on in fashion. What are the trends going on in garment care? What are the new things in sustainability, right? What are the new things in just being a strong, sound business in our world, in our country now, you know what I mean? And with the economic times that we have. And then also, just like your business, Peter, and on my bed, we're so labor intensive is that we have to just stay abreast of what's going on with human development and the issues going on with their livelihood and how we can become not just a job for them, but a place where they can come and develop themselves personally and professionally and feel endeared to your brand because these are skilled artisans, you know what I mean? And these are people that we invest both in your brand and in our affiliates brand. We invest hundreds of thousands of dollars annually within our organizations to get them skilled up, you know what I mean? And it's hard, you know what I mean? It's not easy. And you got to think about the variety of garments that our affiliates see every day, the process and skill that.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because so, there's one thing. So whether you're getting, if you're getting one of our garments, I'm just talking in reference to our garment or shirt from us. Do you feel, I mean, I got to believe like if they're going to a place like, one of your cleaners that have certain standards, expectations, I'm curious if they went to, an inferior cleaner, the longevity of that garment or that shirt has got to be different than than someone like one of your cleaners. It can't last as long, right? Or no?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's truly dependent on the investment that cleaner makes in its cleaning technologies, right? So just like anything, things have changed, right? If you would 15 years ago, 10 years ago. We'll use a shirt as an example because a shirt or a cotton blouse for women or men, it doesn't really matter. It's white cotton. Historically, when that would come in, if it was a white cotton shirt, you would be cleaning that at 165 to 185 degrees Fahrenheit. You'd be using built sours or alkaline, high alkalinity buffers. Boosters. You'd be using detergent. You'd be using like a bleach. And back then we used chlorinated bleach. And then you'd have to wash and wash and wash. And then you'd rinse and have to come in with an acid or sour to neutralize that bleach. And that process alone was very inexpensive, but it would just degrade the fibers over time. And usually on whites, when you're using chlorinated bleaches like that, it would start to degrade the material because your white is actually not really truly a color cotton. So it would just degrade that down. Now, better cleaners have invested in much more expensive products, but much more expensive machinery that's much more gentle now than the old machine that would just pound it like almost like banging on rocks. You know what I mean? They're much gentle. They invest in water softener technology because the softer the water, the better it's able to clean. So you don't need to clean it as long. But really where it's been is a lot in surfactants or detergent technology and enzymes in using to degrease and break down like protein stains and ring around the collar. They don't need hot water like that anymore. So we don't even need to get above 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So you look at the investment that's made by the better cleaners to put all of that into play. And then you add in the finishing equipment that they've now invested in, which is much newer, less aggressive than the older hot plates against things. That investment and that change is what goes into the better cleaners operations. And then that adds to the longevity of the garment. So, it's a combination of things. It's the chemistry, it's the history of the hot water, the temperatures that you need in that historical chemical bath, and then the finishing technology. Now everything's changed. And so those that have made the investment in the last couple of years, especially coming out of COVID, are really seeing real strides in that and are seeing that and the garments last longer.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on it? What's your recommendation? How often should they be getting their garments cleaned? Give me some examples, whether it be sport coats or pants or shirts. Like how often should they be getting those garments? How often should they be coming through one of the cleaners?
Yeah. So let's just start with a couple ground rules. If you have suited materials like a 2-piece or 3-piece wool suit, you always want to get those cleaned together. Never try to clean those separately. No matter what, it doesn't matter whether you're doing the most environmentally friendly professional wet cleaning, you're using a regular traditional dry cleaning solvent, or one of the newer dry cleaning, environmentally friendly dry cleaning solutions that are out there that are much more gentler. over time, and you know this as a manufacturer, dyes will start to fade off of the textile,
Yep.
right? So if you send your jacket in and your pants in, but you happen to have a vest that you don't wear all the time, and I'm just saying because I see you wearing a vest and vests are coming back,
Sure.
Don't be surprised if all of a sudden you start wearing your jacket, your pants, and there's just a light shade difference from the vest to that. So you always want to make sure that you clean your ensemble pieces together.
Even if you don't wear the whole thing, you get it all dry cleaned, or you get it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
I
tough
like that.
it's a tough thing to say, but now you think about what's wearing, right? Okay. So what I tell everyone is, especially when it comes to woolens and your better suits and things like that, it's all about how often you wear it and where and what's the environment that you wear it in, right? So if you are an attorney in Louisiana, and you're going into the courtroom and coming out in the hot humidity every day, and then working that high pressure kind of situation, you're in trial or you're in these meetings, you're wearing it all day long, you're perspiring quite a bit. You will more than likely want to have those garments cleaned much more often than if you just wore them casually, like if you wore it for an evening out, right? So
Sure.
if it's your regular kind of workwear and you're still in the professional realm, you want to be looking at every 2 to 3 wears at least. But I'm just saying, it's like the guy in the South who's sweating a lot. Perspiration, man, is one of the biggest detrimental components to any of our textiles. Our perspiration is very caustic. It causes lots of damage to both synthetic and natural fibers. So if you're perspiring a lot, the sooner you can get that perspiration out of whether it's the cotton shirt or the overgarments underneath that, or that are over that, like your vest or your jacket, the better it will be. If not, you're going to start noting degradation and dye loss under the arm from where your sweat is, probably along the back of the jacket, and you'll notice it on the linings first.
Yep.
And also then it's about presentation too, right? So the same, if we stick on our avatar here that we're talking about down in the South, he's probably wearing lights and linens that wrinkle a lot, right? And you're wearing it. So it's not just about the cleaning, it's about the representation of what you look like. I mean, you're going in wearing a kind of a linen cotton suit, you know what I mean? That's all wrinkled and disheveled. It's not really representative of of why you bought that garment. So the finishing component of that is probably more critical to a lot of people. And I get this other question is people ask me, well, can I just send it in and get it pressed only? Yeah, you can. But just know that the pressing is where a lot of the labor is. So it's not like you get that much of a discount to get something pressed only. It's best to go ahead and have it cleaned and finished. Your shirts, Peter, more frequently than that. We know that everyone now in the world of Zoom has probably got a hook in their closet with like 3 shirts on it that they're wearing like every day, every couple days, and cycling it through it. So you're wearing it for a meeting, you're taking it off, you know what I mean, and getting it back on. But at a certain point, you want to get it clean, you want to get it pressed. Now, if you're wearing those shirts every day and you're perspiring in them, it goes back to the same rule. It's about really maintaining the integrity of the construction and the coloration of the shirts. So the sooner you can do that, the better. But you want to do it at least, again, every 2 to 3 every 2 to 3 wears, depending on the environment, right? If you're wearing a suit or a sport coat for a Friday night for like 2 hours out, then you come home, you brush it off real quick and make sure there's nothing on it. Put it on a structured hanger so that the shoulder points lay right and make sure it looks good. Put it in your closet and, don't put any plastic or anything on it and just let it breathe. And it will fall right back out. Every 3 or 4 wears of that, you might want to get it clean.
Gotcha.
It's so diverse, you know what I mean? And anyone that says, oh, you got to get it cleaned every time, I don't buy that adage unless it's something where you're on a lot of medication and you're sweating a lot, you know what I mean? Then you might need to do that. But we live a world of reality here, and not everyone wears everything every day, and not everything needs to be cleaned every day.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what about shrinkage? Is there, sometimes guys come in, they get jeans, and then they're like, they're worried about whether it's going to shrink or not, or if the shirt's going to shrink up. Talk to me about shrinkage. What does that look like at one of your cleaners?
Okay, well, hopefully we don't have any shrinkage that's intentional by any means, and usually it's never intentional.
Yeah.
First, this as a manufacturer is that all garments by law have to be allowed to have 3% shrinkage in it, but when it's sold. So when you buy a 16 and a half shirt, you know what I mean? Know that they've already sized that up just a little bit more to allow for that 3% shrinkage. It's very rare that we see any issues with shrinkage with our custom clothing clients because most of them, I've gone through the process and they've had that personal touch with their stylist and their master tailor, their shirt maker, explaining a lot of these things to them so they're educated and informed. Our challenge is in those people that buy a lot off the rack and then they just make these assumptions that it fit and it should always fit me. And I remember one of the VPs from Tom James. This is like 15 years ago. He met with our group and he said, "Look, there's a couple things in life that are guaranteed. Concrete's going to shrink, people are going to shrink. You know what I mean? And clothes are going to shrink." And it's true, right? And
Yeah.
Shrinkage happens in two different ways, right? The actual garments actually shrink, or you get in the COVID area where people actually put on a few pounds and didn't realize it, and they expanded and they thought their garments shrink. So we faced a lot of those. It's funny you say that, but we faced a lot of those challenges coming out of COVID where, people went into this casual sportswear kind of vibe where everything was loose and baggy. And then everything fit great for 16, 18 months and for Zoom calls. And then they went to go put on their suit jacket and pants and everything was a little snug. So, we did a lot of alterations work. But in general, Peter, dry cleaning, if it's done properly, should not shrink your textiles. That's why it's dry cleaning. And people don't realize that, it is done in a fluid. It's just not in water. It's done in a dry or solvent-based or solution-based process. And so that's why it's dry. Actually, the technical word is cleaning in the absence of water.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious. Could you explain what the difference is between dry cleaning your clothes and laundering your clothes? What's the difference? Because I feel like sometimes people get confused on what they should be doing with their clothes. Do you mind explaining the difference between the two?
Yeah, for sure. So, and I'm going to throw a loophole at you because there's actually one in the middle now because of the things in the environment sustainability. So laundry is what we all know, right? Laundry is I'm taking my goods, I'm putting them in a washing machine or something, and I'm using water with some detergents and maybe some softener to use water, use temperature, use detergent. There's actually a science to it. It's called the Sinner Circle. So there's 4 components that go into all of our washing process, right?
Okay.
Time, temperature, detergent, and mechanical action. And so in laundry, we use a lot of temperature. We use a lot of mechanical action because it's usually durable clothes. We use some detergent and we use a combination of the temperature and time to modify that with water. So know it like at home. Laundry is the put in the detergent, break down the stains, add some bleach to help with stain removal or removing any discoloration, rinse, and then put some type of softener or something in the end. And then it goes down the drain. You take it out, then you put it in a dryer. That's laundry, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So dry cleaning is along the same lines. We still have the Sinner Circle. We have to use time. We have to use temperature. We have to use the mechanical action, and we have to use detergency. But we do it in a solution that is not water-based. There's bio-based products out there that are environmentally friendly now that are made from natural plant materials like are called acetals. That's one called System K4. That's it's a USDA bio-preferred product. There's solvents out there that are made from hydrocarbon, like what they're one called DF2000. So they're made from, hydrocarbon materials. There's others out there that are made from silicone. There's others that are modifications of them. They're blends of hydrocarbon and alcohols that are all put together. And so these go into a machine that does not drain down your drain. It goes into a machine. And if you look at the front of it, it looks like a big, giant, normal home front load washing machine. Yeah. It has some tanks on the bottom so that we store the solvent in. And basically you put the textiles in, the machine cleans it with the cleaning agent. It has its own filters on there to filter. So it takes the lint and all the hairs and things like that would be on your textiles and pulls them off and making sure that we're not what we call redepositing them back onto other people's clothes. We're pulling them back off so everything is getting fresh. It spins like your other machine, but instead of it going down the drain, it drops it into a distillation unit, an actual still that will then purify that solvent back into its pure form. And that pulls out all the fats and oils that the solvent picks up. So it spins that all out, and now the clothes are just like it is, and then it dries it right in the machine. So the machine is what we call a closed loop machine. It actually uses steam energy and heat to warm up the clothes like a dryer, but it has a large refrigeration compressing unit on it that then condenses that vapor back out into liquid, and we recycle it over and over and over. And if you're doing it properly, you use very minimal amounts of the cleaning solution at all. It gets constantly recycled. You're using some energy to do that, but when it's done, you take the clothes out, they're dry, just like you put them in, and they're ready to go to the finishing stations. And that's the difference. So dry cleaning is a much closed loop system. It does not use water. It does need still detergents that are used, and they're used in the system. And then they're purified and cleaned out. And then you have like really, gin clear cleaning the solution afterwards, so that everyone gets a fresh cleaning every time.
So when would somebody dry clean their clothes, and when would somebody launder their garment?
Well, it's all about what's best for the garment, right? So if I have a 100% cotton garment, laundering is great for that, because especially if it's white and bright, I can get that white and bright and rinse it off and flush it. Yep. And then, dry cleaning is if I'm wearing a structured wool garment like this that, has a lot of complexity built to it, a lot of different fabrics that are working in different ways that maybe cut on the bias or the shoulder points off a little bit, or it has constructed horse hairs inside the chest, or maybe even some type of interfacing material, right? Yes. That can't stand excessive heat or drying. Dry cleaning is also done at a more mild temperature. So, and those cleaning solvents that are used in there, those cleaning solutions, are much more gentle on these natural wool fibers. They don't strip them of their natural oils. They don't rip, make them turn coarse or create excess friction that makes that natural wool want to go back to its natural state, which is curly. And so that's why you usually would see like felting and stuff like that if you didn't do it properly. So it's just all about, what's appropriate for the fibers and the fabric and the construction of that. And then how the dyes react. Dye reaction is a major situation. So dyes are typically more stable in a dry cleaning solution than they would be in a water-based solution. And it has more to do with the water-based solutions are using a lot more aggressive, in the laundry space, a lot more aggressive detergents because the textiles allow for it, but they can be detrimental to some dyes or could fade dyes. So it's just a much more gentle, much more sustainable process in regards to maintaining these structured and heavily embellished or delicate garments. But I want to another thing though, because I did tease you and said I'm going to confuse you. We said there's laundry, we said there's dry cleaning. In the last 20, almost going on 20 years, there's been this new thing in the middle now that's called professional wet cleaning. And professional wet cleaning, yeah. And this has come along because of all the concerns about the ecology of the in environmental stances and things like that, and what what was discovered from a company in Germany called Kreuzler with the well-known manufacturer Miele appliances, the super high-end appliances that are out there. They also make washing machines in the commercial space. They came together years ago and came up with the challenge that they had in Europe of how do we remove cleaning in solvents. And at the time that was perchloroethylene, which is a very tough solvent. How do we replace that solvent and move forward in the ecological space? And they just said, well, let's see if we can crack the code to be able to do wool structured garments like that in water safely and effectively. And that's where professional wet cleaning came in. So now there's this kind of thing in the middle that is, and you'll see them a lot. There are a lot in Europe, and they're coming more and more 100% wet cleaning shops in the United States, especially in states like California and New York and whatnot, where there's a lot of restrictions being put on about putting in class 3A dry cleaning machines. So now landlords may not want these. So they want something environmentally safe. They want wet cleaning. And so the wet cleaning is this unique combination of the top cracks in laundry chemistry. Like they just discovered the formulations for protecting wool, protecting the dyes on wool, all while maintaining the nice natural feel of wool in water. And one of the keys, this is the craziest thing of it all. People are going to, you're going to be like, you're got to be nuts. You're telling me to take my wool suit and put it in a dryer. But one of the keys to wet cleaning, and was the hard thing to get people over, is that, you have to actually take a wool suit like this and put it in the dryer. Now it's only for a couple of minutes to activate the texturizing agents, but it makes your wool feel so soft and supple. So that has now become a new tool for a lot of cleaners in their facilities. Most only had laundry and most only had dry cleaning. And now they have this nice intermediary tool called professional wet cleaning, where they've invested in more sophisticated washing machines because you have to have better control over it. There's unique detergents and finishing agents that are used for that. And then the actual finishing of the garments is a little bit more involved, but not much more than it would have been with dry cleaning. So,
Okay.
and that's now another tool that all the better dry cleaners will have. They will all have that in there. And again, it comes back to your original question, Peter. A real high end, a real skilled dry cleaner will come in and they're gonna read the care label and understand the textile, the fibers that are in it. But most care labels are so out of line and not even close to being accurate to what needs to be done because they're done in batches, that the true knowledgeable cleaner is going to look at those fibers and prescribe the absolute best cleaning formula for it with its staining matter. So it's not just like, I'm not going to say like every wool suit that comes in needs to go professional wet cleaning. But if you bring me in a wool suit that's like a tan wool suit that someone spilled red wine all the way down the front of it, well, red wine comes out in water better than it does in dry cleaning. So that's where professional wet cleaning becomes a really efficient tool and effective tool in the space for hiring cleaners to do that. Yeah, and it reduces a ton of labor and makes everything universal. It keeps that suit nice and even and clean. And it's just a good, safe, effective way that more and more people are adopting.
So if I could I want to just ask one other question here because I feel like I don't know if I've the passion with with cleaning and that I hear you talking about is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And also, another thing that you've hit on a couple times, you've mentioned it a few times, is one, these artisans and this labor, and I feel like that's so important with your cleaning process, and two, sustainability. So talk to me a little bit about what those things mean to you in the cleaning process.
Yeah. So without question, Peter, you nailed it. We are so people oriented, right? We are a labor intensive business. There has been great strides in technology and helping us get better at doing our job. A lot of that has come in some of this cleaning technologies, both in the detergent side and the machine side. Some of it has come in our finishing equipment and practices and how the finishing machines work now. Like you probably remember, you may still have it because you're a master tailor shop, is the manual presses that come down and all the different shapes and stuff like that. Well, now we've gotten smart enough where we actually have machines now that use electronic eyes or even just air and all that can just blow form to the size of the garment. So we don't have to worry about bringing heavy presses down and putting those impressions in the pockets or impressions on the seam pockets down here. We can just use forced air and steam and it gives it a really nice finish. And then the skilled finisher comes in and does the lapels properly and does everything else and checks the lining. So, but they're nuanced improvements, right? It does not take away the fact that someone with hands and a mindset and a skill set of understanding how fibers and fabrics lay, how they react, how to properly lay them on the buck when they have to use the buck, is mind-boggling because, and this doesn't take anything from your shop, but you guys specialize in pants and suits, right? In suiting jackets, right? And so your team is skilled to do really great pants and really great suits. And you have to sew them, you have to finish them. Our teams do blouses, dresses, cocktail dresses, suit jackets, pants, lady slacks, skirts, pleated skirts, sweaters, right? Polo shirts, khaki pants. You start looking at the variety, and now you got to look at the investment that goes into skilling someone up to do all those. You know what I mean? And then I didn't even mention cotton shirts and women's blouses, right? And so you look at the variety that comes into our shops, and a lot of our affiliates, our ABC affiliates, are doing 800 to 2,000 pieces a day, depending on where they're at. In that variety. So many people come to and we offer to, anytime you want to come and visit an ABC affiliate, ask your affiliate, your owners or managers there, they'll take you in the back and show you. Clients are amazed. I know we did a CTDA event where we took all the CTA members, and people were like, I had no idea this is how complex it is. So the labor aspect is huge. And just like any other industry, when it comes to labor or skilled labor, we have challenges. And again, like we're fortunate that we've had players from the garment industry starting to work into our industry a little bit, but we had our manufacturers of machinery and equipment in our industry really pivot and change and help us to overcome some of the labor challenges. But it's just some of the challenges. At the end of the day, we're a business of hands-on, right?
Yeah.
And that's why our tagline is ensuring the best hands are caring for the best brands, because that is truly what we're doing, right? And at the level that we participate in the world of fashion, it's bespoke, man. I mean, yes, we have machines that you can put a cotton shirt on, normal size cotton shirts, and put them through, and usually that'll cost you maybe like $4.99 or $5 a shirt for a real good operator, real good dry cleaner. But those people have been doing that for a long time, and it takes a long time for them to get that skill to make that shirt look perfect.
Yeah.
Then you look at what still goes into the suit jackets and all the different sizes. And now we get into all the different fabrics and the blends that are happening and the spandexes. You got to be very cautious about how you handle those garments. So
important, especially like when we talk to our clients, like we've got it. I mean, having a proper dry cleaner is so important to the life of the garment. Yeah. So important.
It is. And we all share the same values, right? We firmly believe that a good investment in your wardrobe is your representation of who you are and your role in your position, or even as your personality and your person on the weekends, what you want to be and how you want to be representative, and having comfort and feeling good about it, right? And we all know dressing good makes you feel good. Yeah, Peter. So we share along the same values that we do at Adrian Jules and at America's Best Cleaners. We really want our clients to buy the best clothes that get them to represent who they are, what they want. But anymore, it's really about an investment piece, right? And we want them to buy great clothes. We want to be there to help them maintain and keep that look as fresh as possible. Like all of our affiliates live by a mantra where we want our garments to come back to the customer if better than they came in, if possible, right? So that's always our goal. And your clients are our clients, and they've made some significant investments in time and energy and emotion, buying these wonderful pieces of these garments for maybe a ceremony or just general life, man, because that's who they are. We're here to service them. We want to be the easy, simple handshake from a shop like yours to ours, and vice versa. And I think we've and the level that we participate through the CTDA and our joint membership now in American Circular Textiles Group, we're constantly working in the space of trying to do the best thing for our clients first and putting that knowledge and skill into our craft, but then making sure that whatever we do is something that's safe and effective for the environment, both in your sense from the construction and manufacturing side and looking at the goods that you purchase, in us looking at the technologies that we use to maintain that, to making sure that we're not doing any harm to the environment or our people or anything like that. And when you align our values like that, it's just a winning combination for clients to just feel the benefits of it, right? And I think that the authenticity that we've always had with that, we all just care for our craft, right? And your craft is to construct, and our craft is to care, and then we go from there. And again, your clients are our clients. They win. And for our clientele, it's not about the money, man. It's about it being done right.
100%.
Sense of security, to know that they can put their garment on and it's going to make them feel, male or female, like, the person, their full person who they want to be that day.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Chris, I can't thank you enough. I feel like I learned a ton through this conversation. Yep. And I'm so grateful for your time on this. Again, Chris White, America's Best Cleaners. Thank you again for today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Peter. It's my pleasure. Look forward to checking in with you soon.
Deal. Cheers, man. Thank you.
That wraps up another episode of Thread Talks. To dive deeper into the stories and expertise shared today, make sure to check out the show notes for more about our distinguished guests and the exceptional craftsmanship at Adrian Jules Custom Clothier. Loved what you heard? Don't forget to hit 5 stars, leave us a review, and remember, dress to impress today. When you look great, you feel great.